Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So, I don't know about your neck of the woods, but it's been very cold here, and I have been keeping myself warm with a lot of reading. And I've been reading some new horror, which is something that I don't do that much, but it's something that I've been wanting to do more. I kind of set that goal as a New Year's resolution for this year, and so far I've done pretty well. So today I'm going to be discussing three new horror books that I just read. So I will have information on all of these books linked below, but I believe this book is coming out the first week of February, and if possible, I'm going to try to do a digital giveaway for this book to spread the word about this author who I like a lot, and I don't think a lot of people know him. I might be wrong, but that is James Flynn. He is one of the authors in the Local Haunts anthology. That's how I got to know him. And he has a new short, it's like a novella. I guess it's 100 pages, so assume that's a novella, not a short story. Anyway, it's called Swarm. And it's pretty intense. I really appreciate how James Flynn used one of my quotes from his other book to advertise this book. Thanks, James. I'm glad I could help, but I mean every word of it. I'm a big fan. So let's see what it has to say. The town of Drachton, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't even know if that's just a made-up town or if it's real. It sounds like it could be in Germany. I don't know. Maybe I didn't read carefully enough, but it's been a few weeks. The town is crumbling, with crime and violence perpetuating around the clock. Prisons are at bursting point, and morale is at an all-time low. The authorities' answer is Swarm, a revolutionary new prison. Swarm is a correctional facility like no other, harnessing the power of the inmates' subconscious minds for the benefit of the town. The facility is a work of genius, and the town soon begins to prosper. But the newfound hope doesn't last long. Well, of course, it doesn't. It can't. Something bad has to happen. When cutting-edge technology merges with humankind's ancient biological roots, what kind of monster will emerge? This is a very chilling read. I was reading it as the whole DC insurrection thing was going on, and of course, that was adding to my paranoia. It kind of reminds me a lot of like 1984. So it's more of I guess a dark science fiction or weird fiction than horror, although it is certainly horrific. So it gets into this whole thing of kind of like the Matrix, where the prisoners are all put into comas. It kind of reminded me of Coma 2, the movie. I mean, at least that's how I was imagining some of this facility, the way it's described. And it's creating this like hive mentality or a swarm. And it brings up this very, I guess, primal, primitive kind of darkness. And it's very well done. James is a very good writer. It's very clever. Like I said, it kind of has a 1984 feel to it. It's kind of a bleak picture of humanity, but I do highly recommend it if you're prepared to read something like that, and definitely think that any work by James Flynn you should check out, because he's a very talented writer, and he has a very unique point of view. The next book I read I have in paperback, and that is Burner by Robert Ford. Now, usually I rate my books by my enjoyment level, so my enjoyment level of this would actually be pretty low, but I gave this book 5 stars. Oh, I also gave Swarm 5 stars. So I gave Burner 5 stars because it's so good. Robert Ford's a terrific writer of a type of horror that is so realistic and so brutal that I honestly, I could not put this book down, but at the same time, I wanted to throw it across the room because I was so freaked out. So this story concerns the very real thing that happens in the world, and that is human trafficking, and it's horrible. And it's people get kidnapped and they get sold like in an auction block like an animal for someone to enact a really sick sexual perversion on. So that's kind of what you go into with this book. I mean, there's no sugarcoating. it deals with two female protagonists, kind of, and it's told out of sequence, and the way he has the novel structure is very well done, and you know that their lives are going to cross at some point, but when they do, it is such a surprise. And that's another thing I did really love about this book, is it didn't fall for some of the conventional twists, and it didn't feel, none of it felt like ham-fisted or kind of set up. It really had it was a puzzle that was very well thought out, and the writing is detailed, and the torture, like you really feel like you're there, and it's not fun. So I could not put this book down. I was carrying it around the house, taking it to the dinner table with me, and I staying up all night. I couldn't sleep. There was that type of experience. So I think this is why I prefer a more of the vintage campy horror, only because this was so intense and so brutal that I can't really say I enjoyed it, but I still thought it was excellent, if that makes sense. And the title is worked into it very cleverly too, with a wife finding in her husband, she thinks she's married to the perfect guy, and then she finds in her closet, or his closet rather, a burner phone, one of those phones that you can buy and it doesn't have any trace on it, and it's used for illegal activity, I guess. And she starts to look at this phone and find some horrible things on it. So it does get into that. And I have to say, I was kind of hoping for a little bit of a redemption arc, or some, not even happy ending, but a little bit of positivity. But no, it just goes from dark to darker to darkest. And I don't know, I was shaking by the time I finished this book. So if you can handle that kind of ride, definitely check out Burner by Robert Ford. So the next book I have, and all of these books are either independently published or small press, which I like to support. So the third and final one is called Wormwood by Chad Lutzke and Tim Meyer. And this is produced by Silver Shamrock Press, which is a small press. I have a few of their books. Yeah, this was great. I had read one other book by Chad Lutzke called The Same Deep Water as You, which I have on my shelf, and I really liked it, and I wanted to read more. I don't know this other author, Tim Meyer, and I'm not really sure how working together, especially on a book this small, works. And I'm kind of curious about the process. I've never done that as a writer. So it did, to me, feel a lot like the other Chad Lutzke book I read. So this book really kind of captures that dark coming-of-age story very well. So 14-year-old kid named Baker moves to a new town. He's always having to move to a new town with his mom for her work, and so he's always dealing with being the new kid on the block. So he meets this one friend, Seb, and then this older girl. She's 16, so just those couple years older. She's a lot more mature and very sexually mature, and she's kind of leading around these boys by their gonads. And I really thought that the point of view of the teen boy, Baker, was very well done, because you felt his vulnerability around this girl who he's like in love with, but also really afraid of because of the freaky stuff that she's doing. Like, you see the pig's head on the cover. That's actually in the book, stuff with pigs. I got a little sick to my stomach in that part. And it builds very slowly. It's kind of like a slow burn. You're not really sure where it's going. And then the climax kind of brings all these threads together, I thought, pretty well. I mean, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I did like it, but I don't know. I felt maybe it was a little forced toward the end. I don't know. I'm just nitpicking. But yeah, but it was really good, and I really like Chad Lutzke's work. And now I want to check out Tim Meyer's stuff, because this is a very, very well done book. So all 3 of these were really good. I kind of needed a bromide when I was done, so I just went over to my shelf and I picked out the first cozy mystery I could find, like the one with like the cat on it and the cookie recipe in the back, just to debrief from all the darkness, because. I don't read a lot of new horror, but I think the new horror is very dark. I mean, horror is dark, right? I think I usually gravitate more toward the campy horror, where I have a little more distance from it. But like of the three of these books, they all kind of messed with my mind. So, there's that. So if you're looking for that experience, I would definitely recommend all three of these books. So let me know in the comments below if you read these books and what your thoughts are. And if you have any other new horror books to recommend, I would love to know. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.